Darnell, your thoughts tonight. I mean, brutal attack. Why they're beating a 73-year-old man with this comb, but a 13-year-old who was there, not charged, but apparently some sort of a witness, now is shot in the head. 13 years old, Darnell.
Yes, it's hard to figure out whether, in fact, it was connected. The mere fact that they were together the same night that this gentleman was brutally attacked.
Well, which do you think is worse? Which is worse, Darnell, if it was connected or if it wasn't? Because on the one hand, if it's connected, then we've got like teenagers, putting out hits on witnesses, or we've got a 13-year-old who witnesses a man being beaten with a traffic cone and then somehow tragically is shot in the head.
Yeah, well, that's an easy one to answer. If it was connected, then that's worse because, like you said, now we got people going mob style, going rogue, and killing witnesses. If it wasn't connected, then what your question was, what's going on in Philly? It seems like if it wasn't connected, this is a juvenile that's hanging out with a bunch of other juvenile delinquents, and that persistent delinquency has led to them playing with a gun. If that's the case, as they said in the opener, playing with a gun and somebody gets shot and killed. So either way, they have too much time on their hand, no supervision, and it's not a good situation for young kids to be in. Yeah, and
if you look at the timestamp on that video, it is like early morning. Now it's late. I mean, 13, 14-year-olds that are out. Carrie, your thoughts about this? I mean, there's so many different ways you can look at this incredibly tragic, sad situation because you don't want teenagers involved in all this. But you got two things, right? You want the best for the kids, but you want to live in a safe community as well.
I think this is spotlighting a much bigger problem than what we are seeing right here. Philadelphia finds itself right now in a social science experiment. When it elected and re-elected a very progressive prosecutor in Larry Krasner, he has made it known he's going to prosecute less crimes. He's going to use prison less. The juvenile system has essentially shrunk. They are spending more money on summer camps and treatment than they are prison right now. And I think that is why we see soaring homicide, violent crimes, and juvenile crimes skyrocketing. And until Krasner scales back and pivots a little bit from this criminal justice reform, I think we're going to see no end in sight to these poor citizens of Philadelphia until we can see that this is not working. You sometimes can't take these giant leaps in this reform. Take some little steps, but if not, these people have to understand, these criminals have to know that prison is a possibility, or we are going to see this continue.
Al?
Ben, let me put on my prosecutor's hat for this. That I found in my office.
You found it.
Okay, thank you. There's a fine line between coincidence and fate. And in this instance, I don't really see that there's even a need for a coincidence. I mean, the terrible thing about this and the wonderful thing about this crime is it's on video. We have it, okay, so we can see it. I feel terrible for that 13-year-old girl and feel horrendous that she's gone through that. I don't think it has anything to do with it. It doesn't seem to me that these kids would be that calculating to be able to do it. This stupidity that we see here demonstrates clearly, okay, that they're just a bunch of idiots, okay? I don't think they're going out and rubbing out witnesses. I mean, this is not the mob. This is not organized crime. It's not happening. But my heart goes out to that poor girl. My heart goes out to the family of that old gentleman, the older gentleman who was brutally murdered by these kids, and how no one saw that happening and no one went to his assistance is just beyond belief for me. It's just a terrible, terrible thing.
And there's the timestamp, about 2:55 a.m. And I mean, that's another part of the issue that we're dealing with here.